I forgot who
Need eyes up front. What I'm looking for these four are diagrams that include parallel lines. If corresponding angles are involved in a parallel transversal situation, we know that they are going to be equal. Alternate interior, we're looking for that Z shape. That means that those two are going to be equal. Consecutive interior, we're looking for this C shape, and I know that those are not going to be necessarily equal, but they will be supplementary, totaling 180. Alternate exterior would be out here, and those would also be equal. Don't forget what you've learned all year long. You know what a linear pair looks like. You know what vertical angles look like. Don't forget that as you're doing this. What shape or angle pair am I looking at in number one? This is alternate interior, which I know is equal. Are we getting G? If you see drawings that don't look like our models that we used in class, make them look like it. Put in a transversal, make it, extend those lines, make it look like what we looked at. I'm seeing a C shape here. That means consecutive interior, which means 180, which means this is 135. All year long, I've been telling you, don't go by looks. In this one instance, you can't go by specifics. If I actually took a protractor and tried to measure this angle, chances are it's not going to be 135 because it's not drawn to scale. But is it probably obtuse? If we do parallel lines, and most of the time they try to make the lines look parallel in a parallel transversal situation, that means that the angles that look acute are probably acute, and the ones that are obtuse are probably obtuse. You don't know specifics, they're not drawn perfectly to scale, but I could at least figure out that it's not going to be 90. Number 3. Just because something is true doesn't mean that it's the answer. B is true. That's a true statement. Y is 2 equal to 3. Vertical angles. But that does not help me prove that the two lines are parallel. I need to know something about this line and this line, which means I got to have information from both groupings of angles. 7 and 8 are in the same grouping. That doesn't help me. It might be true. And over to the left, is there anything over here that mentions 90 degrees? Let's get rid of that. That is in both groupings. And if I had to point to a reason over here, what am I actually looking at? Correspondence. All of these statements might be true, but only one is going to actually prove that the lines are parallel. So look for something in both groupings. Number 4, I can use these terms and definitions even if it's not parallel. So if I see that and that, which one of these is the description? It's corresponding again. I just can't say anything about whether they're equal or supplementary unless somebody tells me that it's a parallel situation. I can still use these terms, same side, alternate interior, corresponding. Use your linear pair and vertical angle skills to figure out what's next to and around each of these situations, each of these groupings. I'm seeing the same numbers there and there. We have A. And I wanted to go over this one again, even though we did it in the lab. Answer in the lab was B. Here's what I would do. I see a Z shape there. So I'm going to focus just on that information. And just focus on CD being my transversal. What kind of angle pair?
Alternate interior.
That's alternate interior. What's the top of the Z? What letters? What letters? AC, and what's down here? ACBD. So I'm going to put alternate interior right here. That's sort of my justification. This is parallel to this because of that Z shape I'm looking at. Now, I'll look at it as if it's a totally separate problem where I'm trying to find that information. A, B, and C, D. Here's A, B. Here's C, D. It looks like most of the angles would be along that transversal. So I'm going to ignore all of this now and just focus on those lines and angles. What kind of angle pair is that? Same side, consecutive interior. That's supposed to total 180, does it? So up here, I could write this was a same side interior justification. I need something for both if I'm going to say that both of them are true. In all the others, I don't know anything about that line. I don't know anything about that line. I don't know anything about that line. You got to have a justification for each one. Keep that with distance, midpoint, and slope. You also have one on reasoning and logic.